Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and today's car is this, the Land Rover Defender hardtop, as they term it, D200 this model. And if you've been watching Harry's Farm since about September 2021, you will have seen this car before, because I've been running this car now for 4 months. It was a loan from Land Rover to the Harry's Farm video channel, and I've done about 4,800 miles in it or thereabouts. But so this is going to be a Harry's Garage review on this car after 4 months experience using this car for all sorts of things. Right, let's go and have a closer look. First thing to say about this Defender is it's not particularly shiny. You might notice there's bits of mud all over it. I have never washed this car since it arrived. I think it was about 7th of September. So this is 4 months of use on the farm and a bit of abuse as well, you'll see in a moment. And that is just something you do with farm vehicles. It's against the rules to ever wash your farm vehicle. And I think, particularly from the side, it wears its dirt very well. This is basically, if you buy the D200 hardtop from Land Rover, that is base Defender. That's as cheap a Defender as you can get. This car is, when it was new, was 37,700 plus VAT. So it's about £43,000. They've gone up since this arrived by about £1,500. So with including the VAT, it's 44,210 for a Defender D200 hardtop today. This particular one, because I ticked some extras on it, was £53,203. So as a commercial vehicle, yes, it's expensive. It's at least £10,000 more than a regular commercial vehicle, but they are sort of, I'm not going to say limited production, but they aren't masses of these cars, and that is actually reflected in its resale price, which is considerably higher than list price. I've seen them at premiums of £20,000. It's just bizarre, the world we're in at the moment, chip shortages, etc. Anyway, going through the extras, I like this colour. It sort of works, this particular green, but this is an extra on this car. Pangea green paint, £895 for that. £330 for black roof rails. Coming around to the front, I like good headlights. So I had the modern LED lights as an extra on it, £350. I have to say I am a bit disappointed with the headlights on this car. They're not as good as they should be. And I could have done auxiliary lamps. If you're on a farm, you quite want to see if there's any livestock around in the woods and stuff, and they don't give that piercing white light you can get from LEDs. The front, I put protection pack on it. I put a big sump guard here, and if you look here, you can see I've given it a proper clout. I love this beefy great tow hook here, always on show, easy to hook onto that. We have, I've pulled some things out of that, and it's just lovely having that big exposed. It's never going to break off, no need to screw it in. The steel wheels, now this comes with the base car. I just like the style. It gives it a sort of workman sort of look, and I think with a little bit of mud, they've sort of enhanced the look of, rather than having that very violent white look. My favourite extra on this car are these mud flaps. Proper deep mud flaps that when you look at the side of the car, it just keeps it completely mud clear. And the big thing with a Defender and all Land Rovers really, if in the UK we get a lot of mud, and nothing annoys me more than when you get in and out of a car and you have to drag your foot over the sill and you bring mud on your trousers, etc. On this, no chance. And this is just me with muddy wellies, etc. I also love these proper pull-out mats, so all the mud and water stays in there. It's actually got it fills up with water, and you can quickly empty it to get rid of rubbish there. We'll have a look at the interior, a bit more detail when we go outside. One thing of note on the base Defender like this, a hardtop, D200 hardtop, it's on steel regular springs, not the air suspension that the majority of Defenders out there are on, and that the air springs allow it to have a different ride height, so it will lower, If you get it on steel springs, it's effectively in off-road position all the time. So it is a bit of a clamber up into it. And it just, when I walk round it, I think, God, it's a big car. Sort of the bonnet line is high. Well, that's partly because it's on steel springs and therefore has to be at off-road height in effect. If you actually have the air springs, you have even more clearance of this. It actually jacks it up further, but then you'd never get in and out of it if you had it on this car. Oh, I ought to mention the tyres at this point. I didn't realise there was another box to tick if you wanted off-road tyres. So these are just regular all-season road tyres in effect, but I mean obviously developed for the Defender. I have taken this places I cannot believe where this car will go on these tyres. Land Rover very kindly offered to change them to proper off-road tyres. I had an off-road event on a friend's farm up the road. He does it every Christmas. This thing was unstoppable. So long as you did on the terrain response, you chose mud and ruts. Didn't matter a monkey's I was on these tyres, so I'm very pleased I now have these tyres. I mean, you see them, they're not particularly aggressively treaded, but they're super quiet on the road and stuff. So yeah, very happy with that choice. So, I mean, the most expensive extras were actually the electronic active differential with torque vectoring by braking, 1020. That might help enhance its off-road ability. Electric tow bar would come to in a moment, £1,130, which seems very expensive to me. And that front bash plate and front expedition protection system with front undershield, £1,278. That's quite a lot of money. Now, round the back, I have some issues around here, which I'll try and explain. First of all, the only option is a big tailgate like this. Bizarrely, it has soft close on it. Sort of convenient, but it's a weighty thing because it's got that great big wheel on it, and it opens up to this space. Now, one of the things having a commercial is, I'm afraid, the rules and regs of commercial vehicles mean you have this bulkhead between you and the passenger side, which sort of seems reasonable enough until you try and put something long in there, and then you suddenly realise it won't fit. And I found this out within a week of having it. I wanted to carry that rake down to a field on the farm. It was just some stuff we were doing, and I tried to put it in, and oh, how do I put this in? Oh, I can't do this. Do I put it here? No, can't do that. Maybe I could jam it up here or something. No, door swings about, and you'll see the amount of damage I managed to do. I just went down the field, because there's two things here. This tailgate, you can't lock it. I would like to lock it in that position, so if I was putting something in, if I go, I've got another prop I just want to bring out. Now, in the car world, the standard thing you have to put in the boot is a set of golf clubs. In the farmer world, it's a fence post. And if you try and put a fence post in this car, oh, it won't go. And I can't tell you how annoying I find this. I wish they'd thought about it. When it's all down to this bulkhead, really, couldn't that be folding or something? Or maybe it would have been fine, say, if I'd taken the Range Rover, because that's got a fold down tailgate, and it would extend this load bay, and it would be happy. And could this be in two parts, and you could open the screen and just have them poking out the top? But I find that really annoying for the commercial. Lots of you will be shouting at the screen now, well, just buy the Defender 110. I could have done that. That's about £8,000 more. But I just think this should have been a clever solution to be able to carry longer items in the Defender 90. Another slight annoyance is this here. The positive under here is a storage device. I keep straps, tow bars, that sort of things under there. Then you try and close this, and then this won't clip because it's very sensitive to rubbish around here, and it needs to be absolutely clear before that will clip down like that. And it's forever up, and it's right in the way. If you're using, putting rubbish in there, it's always catching it. It's always going to be dust, stones, grain, etc. as a farm vehicle on there. I would have loved a better solution than that. It's also quite narrow. A farmer friend up the road, who's got quite a famous farm shop, has a Suzuki Jimny, and we measured it, And this is the same size as his little Suzuki Jimny. It is deeper, but this is quite a narrow opening, so you can't get a pallet in there, unfortunately. Oh, other little things. I've got the armrests from a normal Defender are all here, so they're soft furnishings. You can sort of see a speaker grill there. I come back to it. It's a limited run. It's not a true commercial pile them high, paint them white and sell 500,000 of them. This is actually a way of having a Defender that is normally a 4-seater, rear seats, but we'll do your commercial vehicle. It will be expensive and it's quite workmanlike, but there are some real positives because it's so good on road, as we'll discover in a moment. So yeah, there's some of the frustrations with it. What I'm going to do on this test is not going to be a straightforward road test. I've got to take the Jaguar XJ Coupe down just for a few snagging lists. We've got these issues with the injectors on it. I'm taking it down to Tom Lenthal now. I've got a monster great trailer to put on this and then show you how this car, how it performs as a tow car with about 3 and a bit tons behind it. Now what I just want to show, just when I back into this shed, the amazing cameras on this car. Now this is on road. I go to off road, I can look at all sorts of things, but I want to actually go to towing. If I go to towing, I'm sure other cars have got this as well, but I've never seen one as work as well as this one on this Defender. So that actually gives me a line. There's the trailer. So I'm coming out at a slight angle, as you can see. I can turn the wheel and you'll see how I will miss the tow bar by turning that. That red blob is where the tow bar is. I come in, where is it? So I'm a slight angle, so I'm not coming straight in. I think I'm online, there it is. Keep going. Oh, a little bit to that side, isn't it? Now, how about that? The way it does that last bit, and I can line it up there. I mean, I find that fantastic when you're trying to put a trailer on and you're on your own. How useful is that camera? It's absolutely perfect. Anyway, go and hook on. If you come outside, I'm going to lower it down. On it goes, and we're all clipped in. Right, loaded up. That is about 1.3 tons of trailer and about 1,800 kilos of Jaguar. So over 3 tons in there, 3.1, 3.2, something like that, I'd imagine. So I'm going to head out of here and just show you a little bit of the interior and show you the Defender towing. And then we're going to drop the trailer off and then we'll try it without a trailer. Right, interior is all very Defender-like, really. I'm gonna start the engines and we get everything sort of working. There's a funny delay when you press the start. It's very clever, this engine. It doesn't have a conventional starter motor, so there's no churning on the starter. It has this alternator come generator come electric motor. It's on here, so that is actually what starts it. There's no starter motor churning up. I've got the smaller standard size screen on this car. Instant CarPlay, no hesitation. This is their new system and it works an absolute treat. I don't mind the small size either, really. Other things to note, I got this sort of jump seat, as they term it there. I thought I'd never used that third seat, but we have used it odd occasions, just on the farm, sort of going up, if you're going onto the combine, taking someone out, that sort of thing. It's not a long journey thing, but it's quite useful and it's a very good armrest. And cup holders here. What I do find, I say, oh yeah, jump in, do that, and constantly losing things down there that I'm actually putting these cup holders, well, they just disappear forever into a black hole behind here. Gosh, what else is there? It's just a nice interior. It's a square box, very good visibility out. I can see the bonnet line. Just a nice place to be is initial impressions, and 4 months on, I still find it a very nice place to be. Sort of manual just seat forwards and backwards, but backrest is actually electric, which seems a bit odd. Fabric cover, which is absolutely right. Now, I'm going to accelerate away, because one of the things I was worried about with the D200 smallest engine options, what would happen with 3 and a bit tons behind it towing? I'm using part throttle, I'm doing 40 miles an hour, and I very quickly get to the 50 mile an hour speed limit, even though there's that much weight behind. And I'm really surprised in a very good way of how much grunt even the base 200 engine has got. And the trick with this engine is it's all 3 litre, it's twin turbo, it's a very modern unit, but its maximum torque, 500 Newton meters, is available from 1250 RPM. So you've got a huge amount of torque low down, and you also have an 8-speed gearbox, low speeds first, second, third, because it's an off-road car, and pulling 3 and a bit tons, towing, I can't say exemplary, but way better than I expected from looking at the spec sheet. Forget the spec sheet, get behind the wheel. Well, that's really very good at towing. What isn't so good is a bit of chop, bit of ride, when especially when it's empty. I think that's just the short wheelbase, and the fact it's on steel springs means it's a short overhang at the back. There's a little bit of chop from a sort of 6-wheel trailer behind. I think it'll be even better if you've got the 110 if you're doing a lot of towing, but I'm really pleased the way this 90 tows with big weights behind it. And I say, I just love that I can just touch this, and if I hear a rattle or something, I think, have I done something with a jockey wheel or something, I can put that on and I can see the trailer hitch, etc., and see all good, jockey wheels down, the handbrake isn't on or anything weird while I'm on the move. What I'm going to do now is I'm running this Jaguar down to Tom Lenthal just to do a little snagging list I've built up over Christmas, and once I'm back, take the trailer off and then just give you an idea of this Defender without a trailer on, or actually on its own on road. So that'll be tomorrow, and I'll see you then. Well, day 2, and what a difference a day makes, as they say. Brilliant sunshine today, really bright, and yeah, towing job yesterday completed. And today I'm just going to discuss actually living with a Defender solo like this, just as I'm using it, working, etc. And it's a nice place to be. I mean, Defenders are. It's nice to be in a sort of car, this sort of utilitarian car like this. It's actually a new car from ground up, rather than a sort of older car that is sort of being turned into commercial. This is a modern car. And so all the controls, all the radar, everything feels right, electric steering on it, but yeah, it's so different. I think people have got hung up because we've had however many decades to decide, oh, that's what a Defender is, and then this new one's popped up, and then we go, oh, that's not a real Defender. Forget old Defender. I am not interested in an old Defender at all. It's probably the last car I'd have on the farm as a farm vehicle. This one, hang on a minute, this is quite good. I mean, we have fond memories of Discovery 4 and that sort of thing. Come to this as though Defender never existed. And what you discover is, well, down a road like this, just compliance with the suspension is not a sports car in any way. I've only just noticed today it does actually have a sport position over there. I'm never going to use sport in this. I might use the manual off-road, but that's about it. But the huge advantage of this sort of vehicle and those tall tires and things is ride quality and just dealing with our rubbish road. It is a very pleasant place to go down here in, and feels most un-van-like in that it's quiet. It has the leather steering wheel. I ought to just add, when you're speccing one of these, for Christ's sake, tick the £50 to have a leather steering wheel. I think it comes in an optional pack as well. Otherwise you get a pretty nasty plastic wheel. And I'm thinking, it doesn't roll quite as much through the corners as I was expecting either. Turn in is nice. I'm very pleased that I have those, as I say, all-season tyres rather than a slightly compromised off-road tyre, because have a look at your motoring and think how much you do on-road, and when the on-road tyres can be as good as that off-road, well, I'll have these tyres. I'm feeling modern car and connectivity, I like that, and turning, it was just Christmas to its suspension. There are no live axles jumping up and down on this car, oh no. And one thing I do say, the 8-speed gearbox just means in normal drive, I do just want a bit extra acceleration. It does have to change down 2 or 3 gears rather than just 1. But yeah, it goes through there extremely nicely, and that is one thing that I was not expecting when it arrived. I think it's time to summarise this car and go through some of the likes and dislikes. Number one dislike, I think, everything just feels too big. Remember at the beginning we described it as a Tonka toy light. Everything seems to be expanded 10% on the photocopier, just distance, height when you get outside. I wish it was just shrink down a bit. It's actually, I think, wider across the mirrors than a Range Rover, so when you go park it in a multi-storey, you know all about it. The doors are big, so it's a bit of a clamber to get out of it. And that size and the fact it's on steel springs means if you're only vaguely vertically challenged, it's a real clamber up to get into it. 2, expensive. It's a £53,000 car and I'm using it as a farm truck and getting it, full of stuff in the back and things. I wish it was a bit cheaper. The flip side I will mention now, the zero depreciation. They're always going to be in demand. I mean, the demand for this car is stratospheric, and they're not going to build very many. Of what I hear at Land Rover, it's one of the least profitable of the Defender range. So what do they want to sell any more of them? And it's created by special vehicle operations, so it will always be a limited run. So you're absolutely guaranteed residuals are going to be rock solid. So once you've got over the initial price, well, then you have a cheap car to run. Now, likes. Comfort, refinement, like the seat, quality of the seat are extremely good. They're above what you expect. And it comes down to that price again. Most Defenders go out at £60,000-70,000. You want a V8, I think it's about £120,000. So I've got all the bases, all the fittings in this car for a price point way above what a normal commercial is. Just get around there, I've got power out there. So it's better appointed, feels better, more refined than it should be for a commercial Defender. Engine, I'm going to give a positive to as well. I do like these new generation diesel engines with that generator starter motor, mild hybrid I think they term it, very refined, surprising it's a 6-cylinder engine, but it's that low down grunt, even this base vehicle, towing etc, it's great. It's a small option to D250 with an extra 50 horsepower, but then you don't get the steel wheel look and the rest of it. So I do not feel shortchanged with D200 at all, except when I'm going for an overtake, or as my son commented, perhaps if you're joining a motorway and you actually realise you are flat out rather than just on part throttle. But for a farm vehicle, I really like this engine. And economical too, surprisingly so. Around the farm I'm in the 20s, but if I do distance of it, we went off to Heffel when we did that test, down to Eastbourne, etc. I'm in the high 30s. I think I've seen even into the 40s. So yeah, high 30s normal MPG. Obviously not when you're towing. When I'm down at around 19, 20 MPG in this, so not so good then. I guess another like is I think it looks great as well. When you see it on the road, it looks modern, fresh, and particularly in this commercial form, hardtop form. We've taken it into London, and you see it on the streets there, it just looks right. It's that iconic Defender look, this squared off look. This has that bit of the old Defender. I think street presence is terrific. So in conclusion then, my thoughts on this car: it's modern Defender in its purest form. No bells and whistles, straightforward vehicle, great engine, good package apart from the rear space, and does what you want a Defender to do, and is super comfy to ride in, and why I'm using it for much longer journeys than I expected to. I just like the refinement of it, and I can see myself actually owning one of these, and this is the only Defender I've ever wanted to own. And it's been really good to run over the 4 months, and I've used it for all sorts of situations. I haven't really found a weak point apart from the space in the back. So there you go, there is my review of Land Rover Defender D200 hardtop. Great car, surprising car, more refined, expensive, but everybody I know, including me, love them to bits. I see why Land Rover have got another hit on their hands. Once you've tried it, it's quite addictive, and that's always a good sign of a great car. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming along very soon.